Alright, so we are back for another video, and today we're going to be checking out the Thieaudio Elixir, and this is the most expensive Thieaudio here in the channel yet, around $209. And what's really interesting here is this is a full dynamic driver presentation, and from what I've seen from the marketing materials, they do have some tech that they put here. So I would like to see how does that tech translate to the IEM. Does it make the IEM sound better? So we're gonna find out in this video and see what we're getting in the box. Actually, before the legacy line of products, I actually like the legacy line of products. Really good tuning for me overall, and my favorite is the Thieaudio Legacy 3. So I believe that goes to my personal top 5, but all of those are the hybrid configuration, so it's a bit different compared to what we are seeing here with the Elixir. Opening this up, and this is going to be our unboxing experience. Another Thieaudio inside. All right, so we have the IEM right away and presented to you as well. That's kind of cool in the color, so maybe that reminds me of the 3-point melee actually. So you are getting that Thieaudio blue case, which does look really cool. And look at the case. So this is quite familiar of a case. I have seen this in other IEMs as well. So let's check out the cable first, and actually the cable looks really nice here. Quite silky in the cable, and the texture is really nice. So this feels like a high quality cable for me, and the color as well. So it's not your usual brown, it's like maybe a golden brown kind of color. And of course you are getting that IEM. So actually from the overall looks, this reminds me a lot of the 3-point melee, but holding this in the hand, this feels a lot more premium compared to the 3-point melee. So the texture of the metal is better for me, so that the finishing is better. In terms of the shape, it's your safe shape, so anybody can pick this up and be okay with the overall fit on the ear. In terms of the insertion, not that much as well, so it's fair in the insertion. So this might not be something that you want to use for maybe some live monitoring, but the design kind of looks good for me. But definitely for the $200 range, this is not the best designed IEM that I have seen, and also the cables as well, not the best. So average, not that mind-blowing in the overall package. But let's try to wear this up. So we are now wearing it on the ear, and this is what it's gonna look like. So kind of looks like the 3-point melee for me. Lots of similarities. Safe shape, so it's not super flashy. So but some people prefer that. So I do like a more understated design. So I think they kind of found the balance that it still has a bit of bling, but not too much. So in terms of the fit on the ear, safe. So very similar compared to your KZ's TRN. So if you have worn that, this will fit you really nicely, breathable to the ear, quite stable because of that ear hooks, and feels really good on the ear, so it's not super heavy. So yeah, I can see me wearing this for a long listening session. This is a safe shape, so a lot of people will be at home with the design here. So we are now listening to some tunes, and we're listening to some I Shot the Sheriff by Eric Clapton. And the first impressions here, so compared to maybe your more budget dynamic driver, so the dynamic driver that they used here is a bit more maybe snappy, has a bit more maybe micro detail, and has that maybe electrostat vibes to the overall sound. It's a bit more snappy, it's a bit more lively, it has more oomph in the sound. So maybe it reminds me of the Moondrop Kato in a way, but this is maybe a bit smoother compared to the Moondrop Kato in the overall presentation. So maybe it reminds me of the Dunu as well. The Dunu types of drivers are a bit more snappy in the design. So something of that vibe in the overall sound. And then looking at the signature here, as you guys can see, has some similarities with the Thieaudio Legacy 3 actually. So it's actually a fairly level graph, fairly neutral graph here. Maybe a touch recessed mids, but a very, very slight here. And yeah, the first IEM that comes to mind, the closest that I can think of is the Moondrop Kato actually. But I do have some differences here. So I do think this is a bit more smooth compared to the Moondrop Kato, and this might have a bit more sizzle on top compared to the Moondrop Kato. In the upper mids, this might have a bit more liveliness in the sound. Very nice of a sound here for me so far. Let us try another track. Let's try some Let's Groove by Earth, Wind & Fire. Yeah, actually from the get-go, this might be the best Thieaudio that I have listened to so far. So the tuning, I like it a bit more compared to the Thieaudio Legacy 3. And definitely like it a bit more compared to the Thieaudio Legacy 4s. It's more in the reference side as well in presentation, but a touch north of reference. This still has that lively nature in the overall sound. It's not a boring reference sound. This is not a cold sounding IEM. So this is not something that you want to use for some fun type of listening. So let us try some Chunky by Bruno Mars for some bass. So going to the bass here, for dynamic drivers, one of the better ones that I have seen, or one of the best ones that I have seen for bass. So the bass is right where I want it to be. So it's not over, it's not boring as well. So it's kind of like in the middle. and it's big enough as well in the mix. It's not super small in the mix. Like here, for example, Chunky by Bruno Mars, sometimes some IEMs delivers this to be a bit too bassy and has a bit of mid-bass bleed, but here there's no mid-bass bleed for me. And the positioning of the bass as well, really great for me in the mix. Quite fast as well in the presentation. Technically capable bass here overall. It's right where I want it to be. I have no negative comments on the bass here. This is where I want it to be. Very nice bass here. Let us try some mids. Some September by Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah, for the vocals, yes, as you can see from the signature, it's slightly recessed and it shows as well in the mix. But yeah, the positioning is not that far off. And the presentation as well, again, a bit smoother compared to maybe the Moondrop Kato here overall. So a bit more lush in the presentation. So not as clean and open as the Moondrop Kato. So for vocals, I actually do like still the Moondrop Kato over this. It's fairly smooth in the presentation, but again, not the most smooth that you can listen to. And I like that there's no shoutiness from inside. Yeah, it's right there. You know, I'm just nitpicking here, but the presentation of the vocals is really nice for me. Let us try some Hard Times Paramore. Yeah, for female vocals, the positioning for me is a bit better compared to the male vocals. And again, compared to some dynamic drivers in this price range, this is a bit more smooth, which is something that I like. So that's some differences compared to your other dynamic drivers. Yeah, for the female vocals, very nice here. It's nice and sweet, not overly done, not overly aggressive, no shouts in it for me inside. And in the upper mids as well, the snares, it's a bit more maybe impactful for me. So again, that dynamic driver that they used here has some maybe electro-style qualities for me in the overall sound. A bit more lively in the presentation. Very nice here. Yeah, so it's just the positioning that I have an issue, but otherwise, I like the presentation here. Let us go to some guitars for some top end. Guitars, really nice here. Trebles, nice, revealing, very much extended on top. Good body in the cymbals. And some micro detail as well to boot. So compared to maybe your usual dynamic drivers, the micro detail is definitely gonna be better. It's nice and revealing actually, the guitars here. So you can even use this for some live monitoring for me. This definitely more maybe engaging to listen to compared to the Moondrop Kato. And maybe touch more micro detail as well. So the technicalities is definitely there for me. But maybe yes, one downside is I do think maybe on some tracks, maybe on some players, this might have a touch of hotness there on top. Just a touch. Like here, it's nearing there. Here in Joe Satriani jumping in. But otherwise, I'm liking the micro detail. It's really great. Surprising micro detail here for me for a dynamic driver. Maybe one of the best that I've listened to in terms of micro detail for dynamic drivers here in the channel. Going to soundstage above average for me. In the bigger side of things, but not the biggest that I've heard in this price range. Going to separation, actually quite good, even for a dynamic driver. And tonally as well, it's quite natural to listen to, quite open to listen to. I'm loving the listen here. Definitely a top contender in the channel. A lot of things checks out. Alright, so that's my take with the Thieaudio Elixir. This is great. I love it. I love the overall essence. So yeah, maybe one of my favorites in the channel, surprisingly. I mean, I didn't expect that. Because, yeah, for the Thieaudio Legacy 4, I'm a bit underwhelmed by the Legacy 4, actually. Legacy 3, I like. Legacy 2, okay for the price. But it was the Legacy 3 that I like more. But this takes it a notch up. Dynamic driver, presentation. So tonally, I do like this over those. But it's the tuning that for me it's better compared to the legacies that I have reviewed so far. So yeah, slight U there, but the bass really nicely positioned. So vocal quite revealing to listen to, quite open to listen to. But at the top end here, the micro detail, yeah, for dynamic drivers, one of the best that I've listened to. Yeah, the packaging, it's not the best. So if you see this in the store, it's kind of a meh packaging, but once you listen to them, this is one of the best dynamic drivers that I've listened to. And yeah, really impressed by this so far. So for $200, I think it's right there in the price point. Of course, some cons. If the vocal, if the mids is a bit more forward in the mix, this might be a bit better for me. So it's not perfect in that regard. And also the hotness as well. So for some players, you need to watch out. So if you do have maybe a more lively player, this might be a bit hot to listen to. So go for more neutral players or maybe warmer players. This is gonna be okay for that, or more relaxed players. But otherwise, yes, if you find the perfect pairing for this, this is a really nice listen here. Of course, if you learn something, leave a like and subscribe for content like this in the future. So yeah, have you listened to the Thieaudio Elixir? Have you listened to more expensive Thieaudios as well? I have heard of the Monarch, heard of good things about that. I haven't listened to them. What do you think of them? And have you listened to these? What do you think of these as well? Of course, let me know down in the comments below. And what do you think of this new setup? So it's been a while since I showed my face in the camera. So what do you think? Well, it's not that nice. I mean, the other setup is nicer, but let me just know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.